Section 3 AA hockey is on air on Northstar Sports, and the first of two semifinal games from Warner Coliseum here at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds as the Eagan Wildcats enter the rink, and their opponent tonight will be the #1 seed from Cretin-Derham Hall, the Raiders, taking on the Wildcats. Adam Rosso alongside Kevin Hagstrom. Both teams coming off quarterfinal victories in the opening round games on Thursday evening. The top-seeded Raiders down Rosemount by a score of 5-3. They actually fell behind 2-0 after the first 17 minutes of actions, but then scored 4 straight goals to take a 4-0 lead en route to the 5-3 victory. They outshot the Irish 42-21, and they were led by junior Max Jackson, who had 2 goals and 2 assists for a total of 4 points in the victory. The Wildcats, the 4th seed in Section 3, they were 5-1 victors over Eastridge on Thursday evening. They scored 5 consecutive goals, the first 5 goals of the contest. En route to that 4-goal win, they outshot the Raptors 48-24, and they were led by number 7 Kyle Stiebing with a goal and 2 assists, as well as Jack Jensen, who had 2 goals and 2 assists for the Eagles. As I bring in Kevin Hagstrom. And Kevin, what do you expect out of these two teams? Kind of some contrasting styles here in the opening semifinal game.
Well, certainly Cretin-Derham Hall has a little bit more firepower, able to score about 4 goals per game on this season compared to Eagan, right around 3.5. Not too much of a difference, but when you look at what these teams' abilities are offensively, I would give the edge to Cretin-Derham Hall, and now contraire, right? Eagan Wildcats, outstanding goaltending led by Andrew Lindgren, 15-9-1 this season. The 1.78 goals against average, already 5 shutouts as well, and a strong save percentage. The defense flanking him out in front has been outstanding. So playing a little bit more defensive style, they start from the back, try to get up and score those goals at opportune times. Cretin-Derham Hall relies on Nick Rees, Brett Hubner, Chad Fleischman, that strong first line, and they have a little bit more depth as you look to line number 2 and 3 as well.
Yeah, and coming in, Eagan, actually the hotter of the two teams, 7-3 in their last 10 games. The Raiders have been scuffling a little bit as of late, 5-3-2 in their last 10. But I know we talked before off air and said that we could definitely see this game going Eagan's way, considering they play in what is the tougher conference of these two schools. Of course, the South Suburban, they were tied for 4th. They tied with the Prior Lake Lakers for 4th. Cretin-Derham Hall 2nd in the Suburban East behind White Bear Lake, as we will now pause for our national anthem. Both teams set to drop the puck. Of course, the final season of section hockey games here being played at the State Fairgrounds, Warner Coliseum. Don't actually know what they're going to do in the next years to come, but this place has obviously hosted metro area section hockey games for a number of years, and a bit of nostalgia going on here in the final week for the hockey that is competed against here.
Yeah, it's very historical in terms of the presence of Minnesota State hockey, and when you think about looking at all the 50 different states across the United States, Minnesota hockey has always been reigning supreme. So in terms of venues, when it comes to section play, this, as you said, has great nostalgia. So you're looking forward to next week. The 4AA championship game will actually be the final game ever played at this Coliseum.
Yeah, that'll host the Section 3 tonight, and then Section 4 and 5 semifinals and finals later this week. Another statistic of note coming in, really the biggest difference between the two schools, probably the goals against department. Eagan just allowing 1.77 goals per game. Cretin-Derham Hall 2.46, so 3/4 of a goal difference. And both teams have played 26 games as we are underway from St. Paul. Play in Cretin's end. Quick shot that time by Sturgeon of Eagan. It's steered aside by Trent Janzi. Wildcats keep the puck in the zone. This is Stebbing ridden hard behind the boards, and the Raiders with their first breakout of the evening. Pass a little bit too far that time for Max Jackson. Eagan controls, Jackson on the forecheck for the Raiders. Drops it behind, nobody home, and Eagan will clean it up and flip it down out of the zone. We'll see. It might end up being an icing call, and it will. So we'll have a stoppage 41 seconds into the game.
And so Max Jackson, he had a strong performance in that win the other day. Ended up scoring 2 goals and being part of 2 of the assists as well.
Talented trio of juniors really for the Raiders, and Nick Reese, Brett Hubner, and Max Jackson, all of which have another year to play for Coach O'Neill at Cretin. Puck in the corner near wall now. It's Traxler for the Raiders. Puck sent to the red line, back towards the Eagan end. It's flipped in, giving chase is Fleischman. Fleischman carries it in, but he is bumped off by Captain Tom Muck, and the Wildcats bring it to neutral ice. Puck sent in to the far corner, played by Wolf of Eagan. It's sent ahead, chipped in, but held up at the line by Cretin-Derham Hall, now behind the net, giving chase for Eagan is Spencer Roth. Up ahead, this is Traxler. Traxler carrying it in 2-on-2 with his line mate Nets. And nothing doing that time as the Wildcats end up changing with the puck at neutral ice. It's carried in. This will be Joe Howe. He'll send it down. Chasing after it is Jericho. 3 Raiders now stymieing the forecheck for Eagan, but out of it comes Malloy. Malloy tries to get it to the point, but it's too far, carried out of the zone, and now directed back in by Taylor Carl of Eagan. Puck held in at the line, sent towards the net, but a falling Wildcat couldn't get a stick on it. Raiders control behind their own net. 2 minutes, 20 seconds into the contest, no score here from Warner Coliseum. Puck fluttering at the Eagan blue line. Now the Wildcats play it with token pressure applied by Cretin-Derham Hall. Here's the pass up to center ice, where Jensen has the puck bumped off his stick. Cretin-Derham sends it back in behind Lindgren. And here's a potential giveaway at the blue line, but Ryan of Cretin-Derham recovers, and he'll give it back to his fellow defenseman Flood, who sends it in. It's chipped along the near wall. Eagan's defense after it, and it's played back to the red line by Nolan Ryan of Cretin-Derham Hall. Here's a nice pass in the blue line. Backhand attempt off the side of the net. And that was Jackson, the guy who had 4 points on Thursday night with an early attempt at a scoring opportunity for Cretin-Derham. Back the other way. It's sent in on Lindgren. He'll stick it into the corner. Hard check applied that time by Nick Wolf on his opponent from Cretin-Derham. Puck sent along near wall behind the Raiders goaltender, now sent along to neutral ice, and it's Muck of Eagan directing it towards his bench. It's chipped along into the Cretin-Derham Hall end of the rink. Well, played by Sam Wackman, and it's sent all the way down too far, and the whistle blows. We'll have a stoppage. 13:04 to play first period. No score between Eagan and Cretin-Derham Hall.
That was a nice read by Cretin-Derham Hall's Jackson, just finding that seam in the Eagan defense a couple moments ago. That's really been the only good scoring opportunity. He just was pushed aside, kind of got carried down by the defense. Good defense by the Wildcats in recovery, and couldn't get a good shot on a net.
Face-off won by Eagan. Shot from the point into the body of Jancy. Shot coming from freshman defenseman Trevor Mikkola. And we'll do it all over again to the left of the junior goaltender from Cretin. Eagan wins the faceoff and draws a penalty that time. Will be probably a tripping call, and 4 minutes into the contest, we will have our first power play, and it'll be for the 4th-seeded Wildcats.
This season, Eagan 18.5% on the power play, and Cretin-Derham Hall, their penalty kill has been pretty good. About 84.6%, so a good opportunity here. Both teams did have success on the power play in their opening round section games. We'll see how Eagan does this time around.
Wildcats win the draw, but there's a giveaway in front of the net. Shot blocked that time. Cretin gets it back. Here's another shot attempt. It's wide off the side of the net, possibly hit a post. And good pressure, shorthanded that time. It was Nick Reese of Cretin looking for the first goal of the evening.
Yeah, Reese and Hubner doing a nice job on the PK, two of the top scorers for the Raiders. Seemed like they were on the power play the way they were applying pressure in on Lindgren and the Wildcats defense.
Now the Wildcats set up the power play, brought into the zone this time by Elsenheimer. He'll send it around the far wall to Jensen. Jensen has it where he's hounded by Flood. And now it's Muck. Muck along the short side. He'll bring it in front of the net. Walk in, left-handed shot up high. Save made by Jancy. Wildcats hold it in. And they're at the circle. It's Jansen. Jansen bumped off the puck. And it's taken away and sent out. Nice play that time on the far side by Flood, the junior defenseman from Cretin-Derham Hall.
Seeing the Wildcats doing a nice job regrouping on the power play until that clear out. Getting a good chance in on Jancy, who his goals against average not quite as elite as Lindgren.
Raiders play the puck down. Lindgren out of the crease to play it. It was played with a high stick, and we will now have a face-off upcoming. I think it'll be outside the Eagan zone as a high stick was played by Cretin-Derham Hall. But the referees are going to award a face-off in the Eagan defensive zone. So 26 seconds to go on the 2-minute minor tripping penalty to number 16, Chad Fleischman. But the Raiders, shorthanded, will have a face-off upcoming to the left of Lindgren. Wildcats control the draw. Far side, Jensen. He'll bring it in 3-on-2. And they'll stop just inside the blue line. They'll set up the power play. Jensen short side to Muck. Give and go with Muck and Jensen. Nothing doing that time. Here's a shot from the point. Redirected in front. Shot save made. Rebound still loose. Some iron drawn that time by the Eagles in front of the net. But Jancy stands tall, and somehow it's still scoreless. 4 seconds remaining on the man advantage.
Yeah, Nick Wolf just powered that one in as he stepped into the lower slot. Puck ricocheted maybe off the shoulder pads or face mask of Jancy, and Mac Elsenheimer blasted it but hit the post. Puck was loose and Jancy able to cover up.
Eagan wins another draw. They've won most of the faceoffs here in the early going. Shot from the point, it hits a shin, and it's taken away by Cretin-Derham. This is Nets. Nets sends it on net. Lindgren holds. We will have a stoppage, 10:47 to go, so the Raiders do a nice job dodging a bullet on the power play, or on the penalty kill, I should say, and not allowing Eagan much outside of that one attempt.
Yeah, well, the hockey gods have liked both goaltenders so far because it looks like 2 posts have been hit for either side.
Puck flipped in on net. Jancy steers it to the side. Along the near wall now. Out of it comes number 10, Buckingham. Buckingham flips it up behind the netminder on the high glass. It's played around by Eagan and sent out of the zone ahead. And it'll trickle all the way down to the circle where Omschenk now sends it in to the Eagan end. Behind the net, played off the wall to Ensign. Ensign sends it in. Now it's Lindgren of Eagan gloving it, dropping it on the ground for his teammate Wolf. Wolf carries it out of his zone. He has it picked at neutral ice. Here comes a potential 2-on-1 for Cretin, but Max Jackson unable to control the puck, has it bumped off his stick, or basically just lost it, and nothing doing that time on the odd man rush for the Raiders.
Yeah, Thomas Muck with a good send-off from Jackson trying to work his way into the lower slot.
Bouncing puck at the red line. A couple players chipping at it. Jackson out of it for Cretin-Derham Hall. And he'll take a return pass from Hubner. Hubner now sends a wrister on net. It's blocked and covered by Lindgren. 9:26 remaining in the opening period. Still no score from St. Paul. I guess technically Falcon Heights, if we want to get technical here, Kevin.
We don't need to.
Of course, on the state fairgrounds. Warner Coliseum was commenting, I don't know if I'd seen this place without dirt on the ground for the horse shows that normally go on during the Great Minnesota Get-Together.
You a big horse fan?
I'm not, but I am a big state fair guy, so I do take a stroll through here every time I come to this neck of the woods in late August, early September. Here's a shot attempt blocked in the circle that time. It was the assistant captain Jensen attempting the shot, and puck is played back into the Cretin end. Olmschink sends it ahead. It's tipped along by Traxler. Now Eagan intercepts, plays it forward, and here's a rush for Eagan. Shot from the slot, save made, blocker save by Jancy. Traxler bumping it ahead. He goes 1-on-2, drags the toe, brings it into the corner, bumped off the puck that time by Carl, and there's going to be an interference call on Eagan. Cretin-Derham Hall fans applauding, and the Raiders will go on the power play for the first time.
Yeah, Eagan fans not happy with that call, but getting the body up, holding up the Cretin-Derham Hall player, impeding his progress, the penalty called. And Cretin-Derham Hall has done a pretty good job, but so far early on in this game, I'd say Eagan's getting more scoring opportunities. You look on the shots on goal, 5-4, so maybe that'll turn now for Cretin.
So first power play for the Raiders. Jackson has it near circle. He cycles, sends it on net, rebound given up. It's steered aside by the Eagan defense in the front, and now controlling the puck is Wolf. He'll send it the length of the ice. Jancy out of his crease to get it. Penalty assessed to Taylor Carl at the 8:26 mark of this first period. Interference, the infraction. Jackson flips it into his teammate Hubner. Hubner along the wall. And nice job that time by Nick Wolf picking the pocket of Hubner. He'll send it down once again for Jancy. We're nearly halfway through the power play. Nothing to speak of so far for Cretin-Derham.
Yeah, Eagan's very good on the PK all season long, and we're seeing that again. Talked about it at the outset, a strong defensive team. Defense first, turns to those offensive chances. I like what they've done so far through the first 60 seconds of the PK.
There's Wolf again flipping it down the length of the ice. Token pressure applied by Stebbing of Eagan. Now Jansen joins him as the Raiders having a tough time setting anything up on the man advantage. Reese brings it into the zone. He circles all the way around the net. Now carries it and drops it off for Ryan. Ryan near wall to Traxler. Traxler misses on the pass to his teammate Hubner, and Eagan controls, sends it down the ice easily. Nolan Ryan carries it ahead. This is Cole Netz. Cole Netz, inadvertent pass that time. Wackman has to play it for the Raiders. Now it's sent in off the short glass, skims the top and goes out of play. 6:39 to go in the opening period. No score. Cretin-Derham Hall and Eagan.
Well, the big difference is about this facility. It's old. They didn't bother putting up the netting. It'd be real complicated to try to hang it from somewhere, so just the fans have to pay a little bit more close attention.
Yeah, you're obviously set back a little bit. There's a buffer, almost a track area, if you will, around the entire rink of dead space. And out of the box is Carl for Eagan. Here's a bouncing puck on net. It's held by Lindgren. We'll have a face-off in the Eagan end. 6:25 to play. Not much doing on that first power play for Cretin-Derham Hall.
No, but both of these two teams are figuring each other out, I should say. You know, it's an elimination game. Usually the first period in my history watching boys hockey is the first period, not a whole lot happens, and then the second and third really start to see players open up and loosen up.
Of course, these two teams did meet earlier this season at Highland Arena. The Raiders, the host Raiders in that one, escaped with a 2-1 victory, but it's definitely Eagan's style of game. You know, I'm sure the Wildcats will be happy with that low scoring of goals, just that they were on the winning end here tonight. Eagan with the line change. Cretin-Derham has the puck in their own end. It's steered along the boards, given away that time. This is Malloy of Eagan bringing it in, 1-on-3. sends a backhand harmlessly to the net, steered aside by Janzi. Played all the way down the ice. Icing waved off as Muck after it for Eagan. He'll stop behind the net, and he has it picked. Centering attempt knocked down that time. Buckingham with the strong play for the Raiders. He's along the wall, battling. Here's a shot sent towards the net, redirected wide by Smith of the Raiders. Here's a puck off a glove at the blue line and carried out by Eagan. Fluttering that time at the blue line was the puck, and here's Muck, the captain, sending it along to Malloy. Malloy brings it in 2-on-3, sends back to the line. Shot attempted, stick broken that time by Thomas Muck. He'll have to go to the bench and get some new wood, but new composite, if you will, as a broken stick now sits in the Cretin-Derham Hall end. Jackson sends it along. Lindgren behind the net out. He's played by Hubner. Dangerous play that time by the junior goalie from Eagan. Puck circles around. Played back. Here's a deflected shot by Hubner. It's wide. Jackson sends it on net. Bounces off Lindgren's pads and carried out of the defensive zone by Sturgeon. Sturgeon brings it in and sends a shot wide of Janzi. Puck hard off the boards. It's flipped up into the air, but whiffed on by Jensen. Stebbing behind the net. And Jackson carries it ahead to Reese. Reese, 2-on-2. He'll bring it in the line. Wrist shot is blown dead as Jackson in just before his teammate for the offside penalty.
So far, again, pretty even battle. Right now, what I'm noticing from Eagan, they're trying to get as many shots on goal as they possibly can, throwing the puck in. And really, Jansi's been giving up some rebounds. So as this game progresses, we saw that one real good scoring chance where it went off the post, courtesy of Max Elsheimer's blast right in the slot. Maybe one of these sneaks past the Cretin-Derham Hall goaltender. I like the energy both teams have, but still figuring things out for each of these teams as there's no score.
Shots pretty even, 7-6 in favor of Eagan. Really each team probably with one solid scoring chance. As Cretin plays it into their offensive end, Lindgren out of the crease. He stops the puck, and it's played to his teammate Spencer Roth. Roth cross ice to Ensign. Ensign brings it in. He's bumped off the puck, and the Raiders take control with Olmschink giving off to his line mate Decker. Decker to neutral ice and carried in Fleischman. Fleischman, short side attempt is blocked and trickled into the corner. Fleischman doing a nice job keeping the puck alive for his teammate. Now finally Eagan carries it out of the zone. And Howe at the red line falls down. Puck now into the zone. Here's a shot attempt up high. Buzzes the head of Jansi, but goes into the glass harmlessly.
We've seen Elsenheimer show off that very powerful right-handed stick a couple of times now tonight.
Muck of Eagan. Howe waits, now sends it to his winger. Here's a puck off the near wall. Into the zone comes Jericho. He sends a shot on net, steered aside by Janzi. Couple players battling, and we're going to have a penalty on Cretin-Derham. It's going to be a slash as Jericho lost his stick, but it was because of a slash by Flood of Cretin-Derham Hall.
Yeah, so another chance for Eagan to try out their special teams in this game. 14:26 gone by in this first period, still no score. Did a very good job with the exception of maybe the first 15 seconds on their first man advantage. Maybe they can build off of that experience and put one in the net.
Slashing penalty the call on Aitor Flood. As Kevin said, the 14:26 mark, so Eagan will be on the power play for the majority of the remainder of this period. Wildcats bring it in, try to set up shop. Here's a centering pass, shot wide, deflected that time, stabbing on the doorstep, but the puck never reached Jansi in between the pipes.
Nick Reese came all the way down from his forward position, clamped down defensively, and got a deflection out in front.
Eagan can't hold the zone, so they're forced to retreat and chip it back in. Stebbing to the point. It's Muck. Muck, wide side shot, pad save by Jancy. Shot attempt was by Jack Jensen, and the Raiders gain possession and clear it out of the zone.
That was a great save by Jancy. Had tons of traffic out in front, able to slip that right leg out and clear it out to the safe side boards for a save.
And Eagan tried to get something going again, but the Raiders do a nice job bumping it down. This is Traxler after it. Short-handed, he has possession, gives off to his teammate Decker. Decker sends it back towards his defense, but an Eagan player there. Backhand shot on net, save made, Jancy. And here's a potential 2-on-1 upcoming. Traxler head to Decker. Decker near side brings it in. He's going to be offside. He does not touch the puck. And Eagan coming back the other way, 4-on-3. Shot, stick save up high into the glass. That time off the right-handed stick of Taylor Carl. And here's back towards the point. Slow shot attempt tipped up off the deflection into the mitt of Jancy. Face-off upcoming to the left of the Cretin-Derham Hall Junior. 39 and 3/10 seconds to go in the first period. 5 seconds remaining on the man advantage for Eagan.
I don't know what it is, but Cretin seems a little jittery. They had that opportunity for the 2-on-1. The initial pass was rushed, and then coming in, trying to come in onside, just losing sight of where the puck is. Not often you see those types of mistakes from either team.
There's a face-off win and a shot quickly applied by Elsenheimer. Jancy covers again, just 2 seconds elapsing off the clock, but a good hard charging play by the senior captain Max Elsenheimer. This time, the Raiders win the draw. It's sent down the length of the ice for Lindgren as we approach 25 seconds to go in the first period. Shots 13-6 in favor of Eagan, but scoreboard all knotted up with goose eggs. There's a cross-ice pass tipped up. And puck out of play, 17.6 to go. And face-off will come at center ice. Eagan really doing a nice job in the face-offs. That time, Elsenheimer, the most recent time, with a good face-off win and a charging attempt at a quick shot at the net.
Yeah, Eagan's playing a little bit better, a little more poised at this point, but still anybody's game early on.
Jackson tried one last rush, but he's bumped off the puck. Reese plays it along the boards. And it's steered back out by Eagan, length of the ice, and horn sounds with the first period in the books here from Warner Coliseum. Eagan, the 4 seed, and the top-seeded Raiders from Cretin-Derham Hall, scoreless after 1 period. We'll be back in a moment with highlights and scores from around a busy day in section hockey play here in Minnesota. But once again, after 17 minutes, no score between Cretin-Derham Hall and Eagan. We'll be back in a moment.
Do you want to do scores and stuff?
Well, we'll do it. I figure I'll do it right before we come back and just go in a second. He can cut it, right? So Adam Rosso and Kevin Hagstrom back with you here. Section 3 AA hockey on Northstar Sports after 1 period. Top-seeded Cretin-Derham Hall and 4th-seeded Eagan knotted up in a scoreless tie. Let's get to the scoreboard. Busy day, all sections seeing action. Some in quarterfinals, some in semifinal play. Let's start with the semifinals. And the big upset thus far of the day, Benilde St. Margaret, the 4th seed in Section 6, going up against Wayzata, and the Red Knights get a 2-1 victory down Wayzata. So the Red Knights advance to the Section 6 AA championship game, although they will take on Eden Prairie Eagles, who were 6-2 victors over Holy Family. So the Eagles and Red Knights, I know, hooked up a couple weeks ago and had a 5-5 tie, I want to say, or a 6-5 victory for Eden Prairie. One of the two that was carried on our sister station, PSBMN. So I'm sure we will have that contest for you later this week, Wednesday evening, I believe. It'll be over at Mariucci Arena between the Eagles and Red Knights. Two more semifinals in the books in Section 7. Top-seeded Greyhounds of Duluth East, 5-2 winners over Grand Rapids, ending the Thunderhawks season. And Elk River, the 2 seed, beating the Huskies of Andover by a score of 4-2. So it'll be Duluth East and Elk River for the Section 7 title game. Another upset, recently gone final over in the South Metro. Bloomington Jefferson beating Burnsville. So the Blaze, who were ranked in the top 5 at one point in AA this season, their season comes to a short and abrupt end. The Jags advancing to the section championship game will later take on the winner of the Diana Prior Lake game, which is just about set to get underway over in Section 2. And the last set of semifinal games in Section 8, Roseau, the Rams, advanced to their, I think, 34th section final in the history of the school with a 3-1 win over Bemidji. They'll take on either arch nemesis Moorhead or the third-seeded Warriors from Brainerd. That game set to get underway up in northern Minnesota. And then a quick rundown on the semifinal games here before we drop the puck in the second period. Hill Murray, 6-0 winner over Irondale. White Bear Lake, 10-0 over North St. Paul. Stillwater, 4-1 over Tartan. That one in the late second period at last update. And then the final Section 4 quarterfinal will be Roseville and Moundsview a little bit later this Saturday evening. Section 5 quarters look like this. Blaine, 8-0 over Coon Rapids. Anoka, 4-2 winners over Rogers. Maple Grove leading Osseo 2-0. That one also in the later stages of the second period. And a little later at Centennial versus Champlain Park for the final quarterfinal in Section 5. And down in Section 1, Lakeville North, top-seeded Panthers, 7-1 winners over Owatonna. Lakeville South, 5-1 winners over Rochester Century. And John Marshall and Farmington set to battle here this evening down in Section 1. Face-off as the teams switch ends. Eagan now going left to right. And the Raiders of Cretin-Derham Hall going right to left as we're underway. Reese, far side for Cretin-Derham. Brings it into the zone along with a couple line mates. He brings it all the way in, and a stick save made on a quick shot by the leading scorer for Cretin-Derham, Nick Reese. There's a shot on net by Eagan. Sturgeon applying the pressure and sent ahead. This is Reese once again. Gives it to Jackson. Jackson tries a drop pass for Hubner. It's played nicely by Jensen of Eagan. Stepping at center ice. He's going to draw a penalty. Here's a shot attempt. Save made on Jansen by Jancy. But a nice job by Kyle Stebbing drawing a penalty here just 52 seconds into the second period.
Stebbing pushing the envelope, being aggressive, working along right in front of his bench, crossing the offensive zone. And he warranted the takedown. He was beating the defenseman Omshank, and Omshank just went with the takedown. Didn't want to risk anything, maybe being too aggressive with the stick. And good job again by Stebbing to draw the penalty.
The third power play of the contest for Eagan. They're 0 of 2 thus far. Did have a couple solid chances as here's a giveaway, but Eagan recovers to not give up the shorthanded breakaway. Into the zone is Muck. Eagan, a couple good shot attempts on that last power play, but nothing to show for it. They buzzed Janzy pretty well and hit the pipe at one point on their last man advantage. Near side, Wolf is now pressured by Cretin-Derham Hall. Here's a centering attempt, one-handed by Wolf, but it's played by Traxler up and out of the zone off the penalty box glass. Muck to Jansen on the far side. He'll bring it into the zone. Stop at the point. Now pushed along and sent to the short corner. Give and go with Jansen and Elsenheimer. Now at the point, it's Muck. Muck shot Wolf. Save made. Janzy. Rebound. Shot blocked by Max Jackson. And the Raiders control and send it to the length of the ice.
Jensen had that great blast weak side, but credit Jackson and Janzi also recovering after diving to his right, getting back there in a good position to try to make the save.
Pass to a sprawled out Sturgeon. He flips it in, hits the ice, no call. Eagan fans wanted one. And the Wildcats a little unorganized that time, and Eagan carries it in 3-on-3 shorthanded. This is Jackson. Jackson, hard shot from the left slot. It's played on off the stick of Lindgren. Up ahead is Sturgeon. Sturgeon has his pocket picked by number 25, Flood. It's sent down, and this penalty will expire in 5 seconds. Eagan's going to go 0-3 on the man advantage here.
Yeah, Cretin's not playing particularly well. We're not seeing that crisp passing, that overall flow that we generally see with them throughout the course of the season, but they're hanging in there. Credit them for hanging in, keeping this score tied right now at 0-0, so maybe they can right themselves and come back in, eventually maybe take the lead.
There's a giveaway, centering pass that time for Traxler, a little bit too far. And spinning pass attempt off the back of the net by Cretin-Derham Hall. This is Decker carrying it out. He drops it off for Ryan. Ryan chips it along the boards behind the net. Is taken by Eagan and sent all the way down the ice. Icing waved off. And after it for Cretin-Derham is Wackman. He sends it to Traxler. Traxler, the lefty, gives it off to Fleischman. Fleischman into the zone where he's back-checked off the puck by number 3, Malloy. Muck brings it in. This is Malloy. Malloy sends a shot. Blocker saved by Jancy. Into the corner, Malloy and Olmschink. Puck steered around behind the netminder and now played by the Raiders. It's flipped down towards Lindgren, but it's going to be an icing play. Interesting choice that time by Tanner Leiden. And we'll have a face-off all the way back down to the left of Trent Jancy, who's been very, very sturdy in net tonight. 16 saves on 16 shots, helping the Raiders to keep this a scoreless game.
Yeah, some goaltenders like having all those shots on goal. I know we covered Bloomington Kennedy with PSB Media quite a bit. Johnson liked seeing 40 or 50 shots. Jancy certainly could see that as this game progresses.
Here's another red line shot attempt on net, played by Jancy. Reese bumps it along the far wall to his teammate Hubner, but playing it back into the Cretin-Derham end is Wolf. He sends a shot on net, save made, rebound loose. Into the corner goes Olmschink, and the captain does a nice job bailing out his goaltender who was sprawled out after that save. Reese now with some nifty stick work. He flips it up over everybody and over the high glass into the dead area behind the net. And we'll need a new puck, and the faceoff will be outside the Eagan end. Just about 5 minutes gone by in the second period. Still no score between the Raiders and Wildcats.
Been crediting the Wildcats with having such good goaltending and defense. It's been the Raiders' help defensively that has bailed out Jancy a number of times, clearing out those loose pucks that are sitting dangerously at the doorstep, and it's helped keep this game tied.
Carl gets it to center ice. He'll shoot it around where it banks along the boards, and Eagan plays it. Centering pass, nobody home. Traxler after it for the Raiders. Now Ryan. He's met by a couple Eagan players, rather. And out of it is Decker. Decker can't get it out of the zone. It's chipped back in by Eagan. After it is Ensign. Loose puck in front of the net. Now Traxler plays it for Cretin-Derham Hall, and up ahead comes Flood. Flood brings it in, sends it to Decker. Decker to Flood behind the end line. Shot attempted to be sent out. It's held in by Cretin-Derham, sent around. The Raiders will change as Carl has the puck. He doesn't get it too far out of the zone before it's played back in by Cretin-Derham Hall. Here's a nifty pass up ahead. This is Malloy. Malloy, wrist shot attempt into the body of Jancy. He holds, and a nice little give and go that time by Malloy and Howe, getting another shot on Jancy for Eagan.
Again, trying to get all those shots on goal. Hopefully something will get past Jancy. Hit a couple pipes, hit a crossbar. That time, Jancy had the good positioning and made a body save.
Buckingham chips the puck along, now gets it back. He plays it at the center logo, bats it down with a hand, and now he's ridden hard off the puck by Malloy. Thomas Muck after it for Eagan. He gives it to his fellow defenseman, Wolf, and we'll have a whistle. It looked like it might have been played into the bench area of Cretin-Derham Hall, so the faceoff will come back down to the left of Lindgren, who really hasn't been tested in the second period. Shots now a widening margin in favor of Eagan, 19-8 on the board.
Yeah, you've seen just 2 shots, I believe, between periods. So in this second period, just 2 shots on goal.
Reese, there's another one. Point blank shot. Lindgren there with a right pad save. Well, puck played along by Max Jackson. Loose puck in front of the net. This is Reese chipping at it. Muck bumps it out of the zone. And now it's played offside as Hubner unable to retreat. And Reese wanted to bring the puck back into the offensive end.
You know, when you're having a hard time getting crisp passes, it's even more difficult to play against a team that's so defensive-minded like Eagan. And we're seeing that from Cretin, why they're getting outshot by a margin of 2-1 at this point.
Played into the zone. This is Muck. He'll take a shot attempt from the point. Rebound off of the pad save, and Jancy sprawled out somehow. Does not allow a goal. The initial shot came from the point off the stick of Muck. It was a pad save, and then just a scrum in front of the net. The puck was sitting loose just outside the crease. No Eagan Wildcat able to chip it in. A little skirmish post whistle, but I don't think the refs are going to give anybody infractions.
You know, in all the movies, something's always just out of reach. A key for handcuffs, a weapon to protect yourself. That's kind of how the puck was, right in front of Jancy, but somehow able to crawl forward and corral the puck before disaster struck.
A big hit that time, delivered at center ice. Ensign laying out Olmshank. See if that gives the Wildcats a little more pep in their step. Ensign behind the net. It's chipped along to Elsenheimer. Ensign centering pass, one all the way through, untouched. This is Wolf at the left point. Puck banked off the boards to Muck. He fans on a shot, and Traxler brings it to center ice where he's met hard on a hip check by Spencer Roth. Skating after it that time and laying out an Eagan player was Flood. And Eagan still controls the puck, however. It's into the near corner and it's played to center ice where Muck and Wolf, the first line D for Eagan, log a lot of minutes. They seem to be on the ice every time the Wildcats have possession of the puck. And Jancy ends up covering a fluttering puck that crossed him in the crease, and we'll have a face-off to the right of the junior goalie for Cretin-Derham Hall, rather to the left of the goalie. 8:44 to go in our second period. Still no score between Eagan and Cretin-Derham Hall.
Says a lot about the strength of your team when 2 of your senior defensemen, your top-line defensemen, want to be out on the ice, can log heavy minutes, not seem to miss a beat even when they're out there on long shifts. Just so talented and certainly helping out this team's success this year.
Nice poke check that time by Carl of Eagan as the Wildcats rush into the zone. Centering attempt. Jancy doing the splits. The puck went wide of the goal, however. And Cretin will control as Eagan would be offsides if they touch the puck. Reese, chip and chase after it. He sidesteps a defender. Goes into the left corner where he meets Mikkola of Eagan. Raiders shoot it back in. Lindgren out from his crease, played to Carl. Carl misses on a pass attempt, and the Raiders send it back in. Clock ticking towards 7:45 as we'll have an icing on Eagan. That time, Carl and Stebbing, unable to connect on the pass. First of two semifinals here tonight from Warner Coliseum, Cretin-Derham Hall and Eagan. And then the nightcap in Section 3 will be between St. Thomas Academy and the second-seeded Lightning of Eastview. So two South Suburban teams here in the Final Four of Section 3. As here's a puck all the way in, and there's going to be an offside call as Wolf was chasing after it for Eagan, but the Wildcats were offside. Face-off just outside of the Cretin-Derham Hall defensive zone.
These two teams making it here. A victory, a dominant win over Eastridge for Eagan by a final score of 5-1, and a little bit of a precarious situation, down 2-0 early on against Rosemount. And Cretin ended up handling the Irish by a final score of 5-3 the other night. Probably happy to pick up that win. A little nervous after the first couple of periods because we all know last year losing to the 7-seed Apple Valley Eagles.
Yeah, the Raiders have not advanced to the state tournament since the 08-09 season. They've had actually even trouble getting out of the first two rounds. They have only made, I think, one section championship. Here's a giveaway. And Eagan now loses possession as they had two guys inside the circles, but they couldn't get a shot off against Jancy. To finish that comment, the Raiders only one section final in the last 5 seasons, I think, for Coach O'Neill's squad. Eagan, on the other hand, looking to advance to their third straight section final. They, of course, won and advanced to state 2 years ago, and then last winter fell in the section championship game
to the Lightning,
to Eastview. Center ice face-off after the puck went over the end boards behind Jancy. Raiders win the draw, and it's sent down by Wackman. And here's a couple of Raiders hitting the deck, and out of the zone comes Eagan. Along the near side, it's brought in by Malloy. Malloy, he's ridden hard into the end boards by Wackman. Puck still loose. It's Wackman emerging, and he gives it ahead to Hubner. Hubner has Jackson do his left. He flips it over to Jackson, where Muck of Eagan bumps the junior off the puck, and pass attempt again going up out of play. Face off in the Eagan end. Shots 22-9 in favor of Eagan, but last couple minutes of play have been pretty choppy from both schools.
It's got to be real hard trying to come into an offensive zone going against a guy like Thomas Muck. He just wards you away so gently without you even realizing it, away from the slot in an area where you can actually make a good shot.
Raiders win the draw. Here's a shot. Save made by Lindgren. Right on the doorstep was Traxler. Here's a low line drive shot into the corner. Now it's played to center ice, where the captain Olmschink bumps it along the boards. Traxler sends it in. It's going to be icing call on the Raiders. So probably the best scoring opportunity for Cretin-Derham Hall since the opening minutes of that first period. Traxler right on the doorstep, but he was stopped by a butterfly move from Lindgren.
Yeah, Lindgren was able to see where the puck was, not too much traffic to the strong side over in the left face-off circle, and closed out that gap to the right side or left side post.
Wildcats win another draw. Shot by Stebbing, caromed off a shin of Cretin-Derham Hall into the corner, where the Raiders play it and get it out of their zone. Chipped along by Fleischman. Bouncing puck played by Carl of Eagan. He'll send it ahead to Stebbing. Stebbing up to Jansen. Jansen along the near boards to Sturgeon. Sturgeon has it taken away. Back the other way come the Raiders. Puck sent in where Smith's after it. The sophomore forward for the Raiders, but they can't set up anything tangible offensively, and they'll regroup. 5 minutes to go in the second period, and the scoreboard still yet to be lit up as it's 0-0 between Eagan and Cretin-Derham Hall. Here's a giveaway in front. Eagan on the doorstep, shot and a goal! Elsenheimer gets on the board for the Eagles, or for the Wildcats following a turnover, and the 4-seeded Eagan Wildcats take the lead with 4:47 to go in this second period.
Elsenheimer's been the most potent offensive player in this game tonight. Remember, the first period on the first power play had a fairly open net. It clanged the post, ended up ricocheting underneath. Jancy for a save, had that rocket in the slot, just overshot the crossbar, and this time was able to convert and give the Wildcats this early 1-0 lead.
We'll see if there is a goal or a helper on that. I couldn't tell. They will give it to number 25 on the assist. Time the goal, 12-13 of the second period. And the Wildcats finally light the lamp. It's 1-0 Eagan. Back the other way comes Jackson. Centering attempt towards Reese, played into the corner. Now it's flipped up to center ice, where Ryan brings it along to Hubner. Hubner over to Jackson. Jackson shot into the glove of Lindgren, and he holds for a face-off. Yeah, as you said, Brett, probably been the best player on the ice offensively for Eagan has Elsenheimer. As far as his goals on the year,
he's got 7 now.
7 goals on the year for Elsenheimer, senior forward. Assist to Kevin Sturgeon, the junior. So Elsenheimer from Sturgeon at 12-13, 1-0 our score in favor of Eagan. Here's a chance in front of the net for Jackson. Tips off the glove of Lindgren over the crossbar. Cretin-Derham applying some pressure following the goal. There's a block shot for Eagan. Now the puck centered, but taken away by Jansen. Back the other way comes Stebbing. Jensen into the zone. Hacked at and sent down where Cretin plays it. 2-on-2 as they enter the Eagan zone. Here's the give to Reese. Reese in the circle now, retreats, gives it back to Oldlog, whose shot attempt hits a skate and goes into the corner. Stebbing to Jensen. Jensen back to Stebbing. Stebbing brings it in. Loose puck. Jensen tried the shot. It didn't reach Jancy. And after it, for Cretin-Derham is Oldlog. Big hit that time. Right in front of us here, Kevin. And there's going to be a penalty on Cretin-Derham Hall, number 4. Howe will go to the box. We'll see if they call a charge on Eagan, rather. And they do call it charging.
Oh, Howe just absolutely lit up Hubner, one of the skill players for Cretin-Derham Hall. And yeah, came in a little too hard, skated aggressively, and got the charging call assessed to Howe. So a power play opportunity for Cretin-Derham Hall, and here is a great opportunity now. This second period has really been totally in favor of the Wildcats. Now Cretin catches that break with a little bit of aggressive play there by Howe, and we'll see if they can upstart this offense on the power play.
Yeah, really. 2 scoring chances have been about the only opportunities to really get a solid goal past Lindgren. Other than that, there's been a couple shots from the point that have forced him to make a save, but nothing sustained by the top-seeded Raiders as of yet. Penalty comes at the 14:09 mark of period 2. And setting up shop that time and tipping it into the air, into the glove of Lindgren was Traxler of Cretin-Derham Hall. Face-off will be in the Eagan zone. 2 29 to go in the period, 139 on the charging call to Joe Howe. Raiders win the draw. At the point, it's Wackman. Wackman sends a shot, it's wide. And the puck played nicely around the boards all the way down the opposite end of the ice by Taylor Carl. Haven't seen the Raiders really panic as of yet, but that shot from the point by Wackman might have been a little bit premature. They haven't really had a chance to set up their power play, and they don't get it here as Jensen sends it out of the zone. So we're already halfway through the man advantage, and Cretin-Derham Hall struggling to do anything against this solid Eagan defense.
They're kind of playing in a lull, and that's what happened the other night against Rosemount too, down 2-0, and then the third period ended up scoring 4 of their 5 goals. So if that holds true, there's still a period to come back, only trailing 1-0, but certainly if you're the head coach of Cretin, you'd like to see that pace pick up right here.
Better passing this time. It's Jackson. Jackson to Olmschink. Olmschink near side. Decker. Decker walks it in, sends it back to Olmschink at the point. It was blocked before it reaches Lindgren. Jackson, short side. His shot attempt off a shoulder of Lindgren and up into the stands. A minute 14 to play in the period. 24 seconds left on the power play for Cretin-Derham Hall. Shots 23-11 in favor of Eagan. But the scoreboard also in favor of the Wildcats with the second period goal, the lone goal of the game. It's still 1-0 Eagan. Olmschink to Jackson. Jackson cross ice, nice pass, and a goal! Beautiful pass from Jackson to Reese, and Reese puts in his 25th goal of the season. We're all knotted at 1.
Yeah, Reese got a backdoor feed and banged that one in. Looked like it deflected off the inside pad, the left pad of Lindgren. Lindgren talking to the referees. He had some complaints and beef that one of the Cretin-Derham Hall players was clamped down in the crease and maybe screening him, interfering with him. And so he was trying to plead the goal, but it will stand 1-1. Cretin does get that spark they were looking for.
Beautiful pass by Jackson to Reese. Reese through the 5-hole of Lindgren. Wasn't much the junior could do about that one. Reese point blank, all alone in front of the net. He gets the equalizer for the Raiders. Here's Jackson again, shot up high towards the mask of Lindgren, and suddenly the Raider faithful imploring their top-seeded team to put another one and get a late goal to give them their first lead of the evening here. 47 seconds to go before intermission.
Well, the alarm clock went off, and Cretin-Derham Hall finally got up, got ready for work, and able to score that equalizer. You see so much more energy now in the last 10 seconds since they scored that goal.
Reese, 25th of the year, assists by Max Jackson and Derek Olmschink. Here's a giveaway and a pass nearly to Fleischman, who would have had a chance to give the Raiders a lead. Jackson at the point, sends it over to Olmschink. Olmschink shot, save made, and taking a whack as the whistle sounded was Fleischman. He gets a check in the back from the Eagan defenseman Wolf.
Oh, how Lindgren came away with that puck so cleanly. It looked like it deflected off somebody, and still very calmly able to collect that right at his feet.
Jensen, Fleischman on the draw. Eagan emerges with it, and it's Wolf and Stiebing. And yet another puck up and out of play, stoppage, with just under 18 seconds to go in the second period.
Be an interesting feature story. How many pucks do they bring to the Coliseum games versus anywhere else for section tournament play?
You got the whole bucket of them right in front of us. Scoreboard operator doubling as the replacement puck handler. Traxler at center ice, played along the boards by Decker. Decker chasing after it. He's ridden into the boards by Wolf of Eagan. Now giveaway to Sturgeon. Sturgeon to Stebbing. Stebbing with the shot attempt off the shin of Max Jackson before the horn sounds. And 2 periods now in the books from Warner Coliseum and the Minnesota State Fairgrounds. And we're right back where we started. Raiders and Wildcats tied at 1 apiece, heading to the 3rd and final period. You're watching high school hockey on Northstar Sports, and we're back with your final period in a moment.
I didn't realize Burnsville was that high in the rankings.
Welcome back to Warner Coliseum for Section 3AA boys hockey, and after 2 periods, we are all knotted at 1 between the number 1 seeded and 16th ranked Cretin-Derham Hall Raiders and the number 4 seed and 17th ranked Eagan Wildcats. Both goals scored in that 2nd period. Eagan on the board first at the 12:13 mark of the period. The goal was scored by Max Elsenheimer, assist from Kevin Sturgeon. So the upstart Wildcats had the lead midway through that 2nd period, but it all changed after a charging call for Eagan gave Cretin-Derham Hall a power play, and the Raiders capitalized. Nick Reese, the junior forward, lighting the lamp for a 25th time this season on the power play at the 15:52 mark. Helpers from number 20, Max Jackson, and number 2, Derek Olmshank. And that's where we stand, a 1-1 game heading into the final 17 minutes of regulation. Shots that period still favored Eagan 10-8, a little more even than the opening period. But the the Wildcats have a 23-14 overall advantage over Cretin-Derham Hall as we head to the 3rd. Couple notes to pass along. In 1 gold games this season, the Raiders 3-2-0, and the Wildcats 3-6-0. One of those 6 losses was a setback to Cretin-Derham Hall earlier this season. The Raiders winning that 1 goal game 2-1. But something else working in Eagan's favor, they are 15-4-0 when allowing 2 goals or less. And Cretin-Derham Hall 13-1-1 when scoring 3 or more. So really, you get the feeling if this game continues in the defensive battle, even though they dropped a 2-1 decision to Cretin-Derham Hall, it's got to favor the 4th-seeded Wildcats.
Yeah, and that just comes down to a little bit stronger backside and the goaltending for Eagan, the 4-seed. Andrew Lindgren has been outstanding this season. And nothing to take away from Trent Jancy, but just not quite the same caliber as Lindgren has been. Lindgren doesn't give up too many rebounds, able to kick aside those shots on net to the far side or the sideboards, and just also has stellar defensive play out in front of him. You mentioned Nick Wolf and Thomas Muck seemingly always on the ice, and they're great leaders on the back end, sturdy varsity players in their senior seasons, and also pretty good offensive players can skate up and contribute in the points category as well.
So we're set to dial up the last period. Adam Rosso and Kevin Hagstrom rinkside as the Wildcats win the opening draw. And they'll bring it into the zone, bumped off the puck. That time was Stebbing. Wildcats in their Vancouver Canuck look-alike jerseys, I just realized, complete with the shoulder logo that I think doubles as a C on the Canucks jerseys. I can't tell what it is on Eagan's jersey as the puck flutters into the stands once again. First whistle of this last period coming at the 22-second mark. Cretin-Derham Hall, of course, in the purple and gold and wearing the home whites as the top-seeded team in Section 3AA. Another draw won by Jensen of Eagan. Shot bouncing on net, steered to the corner by Jancy. Puck along the far wall, taken and controlled by Hubner. Hubner over to Reese, who's got the only goal for Cretin-Derham tonight. And Jackson finally plays it in. Lindgren out of his crease to stabilize the puck. It's given and curled around by Wolf. And bringing it ahead now is Jensen. Jensen tried to drop it off for Stebbing, but he was back skating, and Cretin-Derham controls. Reese sends it in. The forwards will change for the Wildcats. Here's a giveaway in the circle. Centering attempt knocked down, but Cretin-Derham maintains possession. Shot, rebound, can't control it. Ken Fleischman. Looked like that one surprised Lindgren a little bit. Fleischman on the doorstep, but he couldn't corral it for the backhand with a seemingly open net as Lindgren was sprawled out in the crease.
Well, Fleischman was in the exact right position he needed to be, but I think he was even surprised where the puck was coming from. Wasn't ready with the stick, unfortunately.
Along the boards, it's Decker of Cretin-Derham Hall. He plays it along and now gets the puck once again. He'll flip it in as the Raiders and the Wildcats will change. Puck tipped along by Ensign of Eagan. And now it's played into the Raider bench by number 10 Buckingham. So the faceoff will come all the way down in the Raiders' defensive zone. 14:56 separating one of these two teams from the section finals. Draw this time won by the Raiders. Captain Olmschink curls around, trying to shed check of Jericho. And he does. 2-on-2 at center ice comes Nets. Nets, shot attempt blocked into the skate. And here's a giveaway. This is Olmschink. And we are going to have a penalty on Eagan. Interference in front of the net as Cal Crawford was looking for a redirect, and they'll call Taylor Carl for interference. He's not happy about it.
This is the second interference penalty taken by Carl in this game. He had one of the Cretin-Derham Hall players tied up just to the right side of Lindgren on that blast coming into the offensive zone. And as we saw, Cretin looked very intelligent on the last power play, scoring the equalizer. We'll see what they do here.
Jackson shot's blocked. Puck still loose. Finally, Jensen controls and sends it the length of the ice to ward off the power play for another few seconds. Reese skates it all the way out of the zone up into the Eagan zone. Jackson on the far wall. Sent along the boards to the near corner now where Fleischman has it. He gives it over to Reese on the far boards. Reese in the circle. Centering attempt redirected just wide. Hubner looking for the go-ahead goal. Reese gets it again. Olmschink to Reese. Reese shot attempt is wide. Jackson chips it back behind the net. Wolf after it for Eagan. And now here's a pass off of the stick of Reese out of the zone. Raiders forced to retreat halfway through the power play. Puck flipped up high into the air, comes down outside the Eagan zone. Hubner has it, and he'll drop it back to his teammate Olmschink. Olmschink up ahead. Cross-ice pass attempt flipped up and now out as Wolf had his pass attempt deflected out by Hubner. Face-off just to the right of Kevin and I. 42 seconds remaining on the man advantage for the Raiders. Draw controlled by Eagan and flipped down by the captain defenseman Thomas Muck. Jancy out after it. Gives it off to Wackman. Wackman to Ryan. Ryan now ahead to neutralize. It's Nets. And the Raiders bank it along the boards. Lindgren out of the crease to play it. He sends it back around, and it's cleared out rather harmlessly by Eagan, 10 seconds remaining on the power play. Nets to Wackman. Wackman to Traxler. Traxler, the lefty, flicks it down. Nets giving chase. Traxler to Nets. We're back at 5-on-5 hockey. 12:15 to play. 1-1 our score between Eagan and Cretin-Derham Hall. Here's a chance out in front of the net. It's played out by Eagan. Muck doing a nice job getting the loose puck. Net comes off its moorings, and faceoff will come back to the left of Lindgren. Raiders with the early pressure here, 3-1 advantage in shots, 4 minutes and 47 seconds in.
Just as the power play can be a benefit to your team, I wonder now if that's a victory in Eagan's penalty kill, and maybe they can swing that momentum back in their favor after Cretin has been playing pretty well over the last 8 or so minutes dating back to that end of the second period.
And we're going to have an offside call as Buckingham was given a ride on the tilt-a-whirl. He was laying across the blue line as Ryan Smith attempted to bring it into the offensive zone. So we have an offside call. Once again, the first of 2 semifinals here from Warner Coliseum. We will also have the nightcap between Eastview and St. Thomas Academy scheduled for an 8 o'clock start, probably looking more like an 8:30 start. For the right to play and advance to the state tournament. Blocker saved that time by Lindgren. And the puck held in at the line, Omschink. Omschink sends a shot low and wide. After it is Leiden. Leiden plays it along, and now Carl controls for Eagan. And he'll bring it out of the zone. It's chipped along, but not very deep. That time Eagan will elect to change. Back the other way comes Leiden. Leiden tripped up at neutral ice. No call. Cretin side wanting a penalty. We play on. Shot attempt by Wolf is wide. Eagan holds it in. Behind the net is Howe. Howe now bumped off the puck by Omschink. And just as we said in the second period, the Eagan defenseman logging a lot of minutes. Omschink seemingly not leaving the ice for Cretin. He finally takes off. And back the other way come the Wildcats. Puck dropped off, but it escaped the zone. Wolf tried to keep it in. He couldn't. We'll have another whistle and a face-off at neutral ice.
The Wildcats, since they are structured so much from the defense on up, just really haven't seen too many offensive opportunities here over the last few minutes. Credit Cretin-Derham Hall's back check. And just looking for a mistake by the Raiders. They got a couple early on, but nothing doing now.
Here's a nice pass for Reese. Shot attempt blocked by Wolf. He tries one more. Glove save by Lindgren, and that's not the guy you want with open looks at the goaltender if you're an Eagan fan. Reese, 2 cracks at it. One of them, his shot attempt gets blocked. The other one into the left glove of Lindgren.
Yeah, that's a screamer off the puck of Reese, and credit Lindgren for just making that low glove hand save.
Jackson with an attempt. It's steered to the corner by Lindgren. Here's a shot attempt played with the high stick. Loose puck in front. Scrum. All 5 Eagan players camped out in the crease. And we play on. 10 minutes remaining in this third period. Reese again winds and fires. It's blocked down. The puck held in at the blue line by Cretin-Derham Hall. And now Jensen of Eagan finally gets it out of the zone.
You think Eagan's a defensive team? Everybody in front of the net protecting the goal when it was open.
Looked like the puck was played with a high stick. Refs didn't call it that way. Now the puck. And we're going to have a penalty, rather, on Jackson. Interference call. Somebody hit the ice on the near side. Looked like Kevin Sturgeon. And after that flurry of offensive pressure by Cretin-Derham Hall, Jackson takes a seat in the penalty box. Eagan will go on their 4th power play of the contest.
Yeah, potentially big turn of events. Obviously, great job as a team effort to protect that net. Lindgren had gone out, as you mentioned, to try to make a play just outside the crease with a glove hand. It was played with the high stick. He got tied up with that stick, and then it was a scrum, a melee thereafter.
Ensign trying to hold the puck in as the Eagles look, the Wildcats rather, look to set up the power play. It's cleared down the length of the ice. Carl calling the shots on the breakout. Bringing it ahead is Elsenheimer. He has the lone goal for the Wildcats, and he stays on his skates. And now the puck played up and out of play near the Cretin bench. Face-off will be in the Raiders' zone. 1:20 left on the interference call to Jackson of Cretin-Derham Hall. At
one point, the shots on goal were 22-9 in favor of the Wildcats. So the Raiders have outshot now the Wildcats 10-2.
Eagan wins the draw. Here's a low shot attempt, stick save made by Jancy. Shot coming from Jensen. Here's another shot attempt, hard wrister from the short angle. That time it was Wolf, the defenseman, walking in. Body save, Jancy. And we'll do it all over again from the left circle.
Wolf showing off his two-way ability, playing up in the face-off circle area as opposed to down by the blue line.
Raiders win the draw and shoot at the length of the ice. Lindgren plays it and gives off to one of his captains, Muck. Muck ahead near side to Jensen. Jensen carrying it in on the left side of the ice. Blocker save. Short angle attempt by Jensen. He chips it to the point. It's held in at the line, but now a giveaway and the puck sent out. Muck retreats and gives it to Stebbing. Well, it's played along the boards. Wolf unable to corral it. Less than 20 seconds remaining on the Eagan power play. And Muck sends it in. Wolf after it. He's met hard by Ryan. Ryan and Hubner now controls the puck and sends it out. 6 seconds to go on the power play. Another nice job by Cretin's penalty kill. 0 for 4 on the evening are the Wildcats with a 5-on-4 man advantage.
Yeah, Cretin's done a nice job really limiting Eagan's opportunities over the last period and a half, and the way it's shaping up, obviously going to be a great finish, but Cretin may have the edge at this point.
Yeah, really, since that Eagan goal, it's been all Cretin-Derham Hall, as you said, Kevin. Stebbing trying to advance it into the zone. He stood up hard at his blue line. Flood applying the body pressure. Behind his own net is Thomas Muck, the captain. He'll set it up. Banks along the boards, up ahead. It's too far out of the reach of Malloy, and Malloy now offsides as Jericho, the sophomore forward for Eagan, tried to bring it into the zone.
Eagan again trying to find some flow offensively. That rhythm is gone that they had in the first period into the second period when they carried that 1-0 lead. And Cretin-Derham Hall is being a little more aggressive. We saw them, as there was a chance there, we saw them really wake up after that goal.
Hard wrist shot into the corner for Cretin. Here's a centering attempt as Crawford was perched near the crease. Puck batted up into the air and now chipped out by the defenseman Howe. Shot on net, held by Lindgren and covered. Face-off in the Eagan defensive zone. 6:19 remaining in regulation.
Now this is a 1v4 matchup. Eagan the 4 seed, but looking at these two teams and the next two opponents as well, all of them you could have argued may have deserved the #1 seed.
Yeah, they pretty much all beat each other. Eagan and East, I believe, split during the regular season. Cretin-Derham defeating Eagan earlier in the season, and then St. Thomas Academy also was beaten by Cretin-Derham Hall. So that's probably, as we talked in the intermission, why Cretin became the #1 seed. They were undefeated in section play and beat 2 of the top 4 teams during the regular season.
At the same time, though, at the statewide rankings, they're the lowest or second lowest behind these, or just in front of the Eagan.
Jackson doing a nice job single-handedly applying some pressure for the Raiders, but Thomas Muck sets up shot, puck chipped along, and Jancy plays it with a stick. Here's Reese carrying it out of the zone. Now it's flipped back in and out of play once again. This time Nick Wolf with the attempt. Crowd slowly filling in here. Definitely more Cretin-Derham Hall fans than Eagan fans. A good, healthy student section for the Raiders. Obviously, a lot less travel time required if you're coming from anywhere near the St. Paul area versus Eagan. Here's a shot attempt with a save made up high by Jancy. On the doorstep was Stebbing looking for the go-ahead goal.
Quick release by Stebbing, tied up Jancy, but somehow able to get that glove up and make the catch.
Wolf holds it at the line. It's Muck. Muck tries a shot towards the net. It's blocked by Traxler, and Eagan forced to move out of the zone. Puck dumped in, giving chase. Jensen. And now it's Wolf. Shot, save made. Loose puck in front. It's still loose. Cleared out. Muck tries a shot attempt. A sprawled out save. Here's another shot. This is wide. That time Wolf with the shot attempt. Give the helper or really the save to Joey Decker that time. I don't think Jancy saw the puck. Decker looked like he blocked it with his hamstring as he was laying on the ice.
Tit for tat. We saw it at one end over for the Wildcats, their team coming to save and bail out Lindgren. And here, as you said, Decker and the rest of the Raiders helping out Jancy on a loose puck.
Best sustained pressure of the third period that time for Eagan, but they failed to connect on a goal. Puck whiffed on it, center ice by Olmschink. It's now taken away in the zone. Malloy centering pass just out of the reach of Jericho. Puck just out of the reach, ever so close, as I think they had Jancy beat as he was moving from his right to left.
The pass from Malloy a little bit in too deep, and Jericho, as you said, just couldn't quite catch up to it. Even if he did, it would have been a very quick bang bang as he was crashing in along that right post.
But a housekeeping done by the linesman. And the face-off just in front of the Cretin-Derham Hall bench. It'll be Hubner and Elsenheimer taking the draw. And it looks like Cretin wins the draw. Elsenheimer hits the deck after a hard check delivered by Flood of Cretin. Reese sends it to center ice. It's played back in by Muck on net. And Jancy alertly makes the save. Reese now near side. It's chipped along by Hubner. After it, Jackson. This is the line that scored the first Raiders goal. We'll see what they can do as we're under 4 minutes to play. Centering pass to Jackson. He maintains possession, tries to go up high. Shoulder save made Lindgren. Olmschink sends it back into the corner where Wolf plays it off the short glass and down towards Jancy, where he gives it off to his captain, Olmschink. Olmschink brings it in from his defenseman position. He carries it behind the net, centers, loose puck in front. Nobody home for Cretin-Derham Hall. Out of it comes Jensen. Jensen carries it in on the far side. He makes a nice stick handling move, pad save, Jancy. Back the other way, Reese with it for Cretin-Derham Hall. He's 1-on-5 as the Raiders are in the midst of a change. He'll carry it along with his backhand, try to leave it off for Buckingham, but The Wildcats elect to ice the puck. 2:52 to go. Tension building as some nice end-to-end action finally out of the two schools.
Both of these teams extending themselves a little bit more, trying to generate more scoring opportunities, because really throughout the course of this game, you've seen a lot more conservative play, especially on the back end. We know Eagan, is structured that way to play defense first, but even Cretin-Derham Hall hasn't made many mistakes where you've seen too many odd man rush chances.
Puck played off the boards and out of play nearly into the penalty box in front of us here at Warner Coliseum. And we'll have another face-off to the left of Lindgren, who's made 20 saves on 21 shots. His opponent on the other end of the ice between the pipes, Jancy, he has 30 saves on 31 shots.
Yeah, one of Jancy's best games of the season, I'd say.
And here's an attempt into the zone. Roth carried it in. He sends it towards the net, short angle. Jancy, his skate married up against that post. The puck trying to find the smallest of openings. He covers.
I like Jancy's awkward maneuver there just to make sure it was frozen.
Elsenheimer opposing Fleischman in the face-off circle. Raiders win the draw. Traxler sends it ahead. His teammate Decker on the other side of the net gives chase. Traxler wins the puck. Sent near slot where he loses his stick, and behind the net, Fleischman with it for Cretin-Derham Hall. Here's Traxler in front. Save made. Puck is loose, and it skips out. I don't know if anybody knew where the puck was at that point. It went right by Sam Wackman, who was at the point for the Raiders. And they're forced to retreat. Traxler brings it in again. And the puck does not reach the netminder Lindgren. Back the other way comes Eagan. Somebody ridden hard into the pipe. And
Zibley looks to be okay. Yeah, he got driven right into that post.
Ensign, who was locked up with Fleischman, I believe. And both players going into the crease. Ensign getting the worst of it, hitting the post, but he skates off to the bench under his own power while the face-off in the Cretin-Derham Hall zone. 1:54 to play in regulation. Face-off won by Eagan. Muck sends it behind the net. Olmschink plays it for the Raiders. Here's a dipsy-do move. Stopped by the defense of Eagan. That was Hubner trying to get around the Eagan back wall. Hubner has it again. He'll backhand it in. Reese chases after it for Cretin-Derham Hall. Wolf plays it for Eagan. It's back to neutral ice. Low shot sent in by Olmschink. Here's a giveaway in the zone. Jackson has Hubner with him. It's played down in front of the net by Wolf, and out of it comes Jensen. Jensen shot blocker save. Janzy. Olmschink around to Reese. As we hear the announcement from the PA announcer, 60 seconds to go in the final period. Reese behind the net. He has the Raiders goal, but he's met by two defensemen. As out ahead of everybody is Elsenheimer of Eagan, but alert play that time by Olmschink. Intercepts the three-quarter rink pass. Puck held in. Traxler shot just wide. Couldn't tell if Lindgren got a piece of it or not, but just a quick fire on net. I think he got a piece of it, maybe his right skate, and he'll cover once the puck goes off the end boards. 34 1/10 second remaining.
That was a great timing play by Traxler. He kind of caught Eagan completely off guard there. It was just such a quick pass. He couldn't quite balance himself and put that one in on target.
Raiders student section rises to their feet. Face-off one, chipped towards the net by Traxler, where Lindgren holds and covers with his glove. And we'll have another face-off to the left of Lindgren. Fleischman opposing Jensen. Jensen this time wins it for Eagan, it's played out of the zone. And now Jensen, who's skating seemingly faster than everybody else. Here's a shot, save made, rebound loose in front. Up is Muck trying to get a shot off when there's a scrum in front of the net. Now the other way, a potential odd man rush. Comes Decker. Save made. It's loose in the jersey of Lindgren. He finally has it drop in front of him, covers up. 9 seconds remaining, a couple of great chances for both squads.
Lindgren was testing out where the puck was, not sure where it was. Saw him drop the left arm. It was almost a dangerous play as Cretin-Derham Hall was ready to pounce. Can't ask for much more for a section semifinal game.
Puck loose in front of the net, sent out all the way down. It's going to go in the crease where Jancy has it. He ends up covering it with 1.4 seconds remaining. Not sure why he didn't just push that one to one of the corners. But Eagan will have a quick opportunity to try to win this in regulation. Otherwise, we get free hockey.
Well, they might as well sell out now. Good head coaching decision right here by Mike Taylor, figuring 1.4 seconds, nothing bad can happen for me. Might as well get that extra guy out.
And they get a shot on net. It's Jensen. Save made Jancy, and we will go to sudden death overtime. No scoring in that third period. We'll have a 3-minute break before overtime. 2 penalties, both interference infractions, one on Eagan, one on Cretin-Derham. Nobody able to get the go-ahead goal, and we find ourselves going to overtime, tied at 1 apiece. Shots even that period. Nope, excuse me, shots in favor. Nope, shots even that period at 11 apiece for the two schools. 34 in favor of Eagan to 25 for Cretin-Derham after 3 periods of play. As I said in the second intermission, Cretin 3-2 in 1 goal games this season. Eagan has 6 losses to just 3 victories in 1 goal games. So the Eagles, or the Wildcats rather, we used to call it Eden Prairie hockey, the Wildcats looking to improve upon that 3-6 record in 1 goal games, or they're going to go home for the winter and the spring.
In overtime, I know Eagan has lost 1 time and won 1 time. Both of those Eastview games actually went to overtime, so very well contested. If Eagan and Eastview were to win tonight, then they could have that winner-take-all matchup for the section final like they had a year ago. Cretin-Derham Hall, looking at their overtime numbers, they do have 1 loss and 3 ties to their credit. So should be pretty interesting. Again, Cretin-Derham Hall, it's just my observations here, Adam, that ever since that goal where they were, I wouldn't say napping necessarily, but just weren't in sync until they got that fortunate goal on the power play, have seemed to come to life. And it was a pretty even matchup throughout, but they got more shots on goal, clearly cut that margin to 9 shots deficit as opposed to 13 like it was in the second period. And they were generating some opportunities on Lindgren where even his team was just hoping that something good was going to happen. Lots of scrums out in front, and fortunately for the Wildcats, able to force the overtime.
Yeah, really, that first period we'd probably give it in favor of Eagan. Since then, it's been pretty even, but definitely since the game-tying goal by Reese, the Raiders have outplayed the Wildcats in the last period and a half here in Falcon Heights. So free hockey, Section 3, semifinal, Eagan and Cretin-Derham, the 1-versus-4 matchup. Next goal wins as Wildcats control the opening draw. We'll play 8-minute overtimes, I assume, until we get a goal. Wolf plays it along the boards. Reese plays it, and it's going to be offside as Jackson was late getting out of the zone. Reese, nice heads-up play. Playing the puck with a glove, dropped it, looked for Hubner, but Jackson was not out of his zone before the play could be onside. Reese has his puck poked away. Nice play that time by Muck. And the puck comes to neutral ice. It's now sent into the corner, across ice. Wolf after it for Eagan. Sturgeon plays it along. It's now sent in the zone by Olmschink. And Wolf now plays it out of the zone back in. And Hubner offsides for a second time in this first 45 seconds of overtime. So will it be Eagan advancing to their third straight section final, or will the Raiders finally end their section semifinal vex that they've had the last few years and advance to play for a state tournament berth? Here's a shot on net. Janzi gives up a rebound. Eagan hacking at it, but nothing doing. Ensign after it for the Wildcats. Now at the point, it's Wolf. Wolf sends it into the corner. Ensign bumped off the puck by Ryan. And the Wildcats hold the zone now. But finally emerging is Fleischman. Fleischman. Now it's Wackman. Wackman sends it in. He's met hard after dumping that puck. Muck. Pass on the tape to Howe. Howe. There's a couple guys with him. One of them being Jericho. Jericho behind the net, locked up with a couple Raiders. Howe enters, and out of it comes Hubner. Hubner up the left side of the ice comes Jackson. Jackson makes a man miss. Here's a short angle shot. It's wide. Fleischman fans on it, and back the other way comes Malloy. Malloy with a shot. It's played on the blocker save. Probably would not have been on net, but Jancy elects to play it. Reese out of it the other way for Cretin. Reese goes around a defenseman, makes a man miss, but out of his crease comes Lindgren. What an individual move by Reese.
Reese was dazzling on that 1-on-2 to get all the way to the crease, but Lindgren, being aggressive, comes into a low stance and essentially just chomps on the puck as Reese was trying to raise the puck a little bit. Lindgren right there to tower over and smother it.
Jensen wins the draw for Eagan. And now Sturgeon sends it along the boards, but it's going to be too far for an icing call. So Cretin continuing their solid pressure in the overtime, which top seed really woke up with their first goal, and they've outplayed the Wildcats ever since that second period tally. But Eagan, being the defensive team they are, doing a nice job holding strong. Lindgren in net, doing a nice job as he has all season. Puck flipped out to center ice. Banked along the boards for Traxler. Traxler gets it into his offensive zone, but it's quickly relinquished back out. Muck bringing it ahead, sidestepping a man, carrying it in. A pair of twos, Muck and Olmschink after it. And Olmschink of the Raiders controls. Fleischman has his pocket picked by Jensen at center ice. Eagles, or rather Wildcats onside, centering attempt to Sturgeon. He couldn't put the shot on net. Stebbing has it taken away. See if fatigue sets in for either team. Here's a pass attempt fanned on, and Eagan brings it in. It's Elsenheimer. He has the goal. Centering pass all the way through the crease. Nobody in the blue and white could get a stick on it.
Pass almost tied up Spencer Roth. He had the best chance, but the puck came in just behind him.
Raiders play it behind their netminder. Olmschink once again, he just selects to ice the puck, as I think they were worn out, specifically Olmschink and Flood. Both defensemen had been on the ice. Olmschink skates to his bench with his hands on his knees. Olmschink and Muck, both number 2s, have been logging tons of ice time for their respective teams on the defense.
The way this game is going, they might have a lot longer night ahead of them, too.
Raiders win the faceoff. Bringing it into the zone is Netz. Netz tries to sidestep a defender. He falls hard into the end boards. Puck played along the far side, where Buckingham emerges for the Raiders. Now it's Netz. Netz plays it around, but a Raider had lost his stick. That's Buckingham. Buckingham now has it. Give and go. He has a shot attempt. It's deflected up high over Lindgren. This is Netz again behind the net. Raiders controlling the tempo, controlling the puck here. 3:23 to go in the overtime. Smith. Smith has it. He sends it in the corner. This is Buckingham. Buckingham to Netz. Netz locked up with Jericho. Buckingham. And it's played to the line, but not out. Held in. Played to the line again. Now tipped out to the red line. Nolan Ryan gives it off, and the Raiders with a wholesale change. And the puck played at center ice, and there will be an icing call. It was determined that Muck was not on the red line, so 2 minutes of pressure that time by Cretin-Derham Hall, and they'll get another face-off to the right of Andrew Lindgren with 2:46 to go in our first overtime.
Well, the face-off battles have switched tides a little bit. Cretin's done a better job since Eagan was dominating the first and second period. And trying to get their point men involved, maybe look backside again. We've seen a couple of those plays work out where they just haven't capitalized.
Here's a shot deflected on net by Reese. Shot from the point came from the right-handed stick of Flood. But Lindgren, he's on the spot once again. Another face-off. Hubner and Jensen for Eagan. Jensen wins it. It's played ahead. Olmschink in with Reese. Reese and Jackson giving chase. Reese can't win the race to the puck. And Sturgeon carries it out to Stebbing. Stebbing sidesteps a man. He's knocked down. He still manages to get a backhand towards the net. It's played behind the net by Hubner. Hubner to Reese. Reese, as they enter the zone 3-on-2, drops it off to Hubner. It hit a skate, however. Olmschink sends it on net. It's deflected just high. Reese with another deflection. Olmschink sends it cross ice off the boards. Cretin-Derham Hall changes. And here's a giveaway, but offside will be called on Spencer Roth. And we will reload. Still tied at 1. Next goal winning. Next goal sending one of these two squads to the Section 3 AA final on Thursday evening. Wackman to Decker. Decker met by Ensign. Puck now taken by and possessed by Wolf at center ice. His shot from the point deflected high up into the stands behind the net. See where the refs give the face-off. It'll come outside the Cretin-Derham Hall zone. 84 seconds remaining in this overtime. Another face-off win by Eagan. This time it was Elsenheimer. Shot sent on net, steered to the circle by Jancy. Back the other way comes the Raiders. Convoy leading it in, shot trickling towards Lindgren. He plays it into the corner. Icing will be the call on Eagan. And the puck will come all the way down to the end. A couple Wildcats not happy. They felt like Cretin-Derham Hall touched the puck, trying to keep it in the zone, but the referee doesn't see it that way. And the Raiders will get a face-off in the zone to the right of the netminder. Eagan, another face-off draw win, but Jackson emerges from behind the net for the Raiders. He sends it back around Reese, not home, and played to the line, not out, but Olmschink can't control it. He loses the stick and loses the puck. Jensen of Eagan takes the neutral zone possession. He brings it in, and a shot, backhand! Eagan moves on to the section finals! Jack Jensen scores with 42 seconds remaining in the overtime. He took the puck at center ice, brought it in, and a beautiful backhand over the shoulder of goaltender Trent Jancy. And the Wildcats advance to the third straight section final with a 2-1 victory over Cretin-Derham Hall.
Who steps up in the big situation? Time running out on overtime at number 1, Jack Jensen, the guy who helped lead them to this game with a 4-point effort in a win over Eastridge. Fairly quiet all game long, did not call his name a whole lot, but he just kind of kept in there, hung around, saw his opportunity, and like these Wildcats, taking advantage when the chance is there. Beautiful backhand top shelf to beat Jancy and send Eagan again to their third or fourth consecutive section final.
7-18, your game winner in the overtime period. Jack Jensen scoring his 19th of the season, his 53rd point. He sends the Wildcats to a section final date with either St. Thomas Academy or Eastview. Senior captain Thomas Muck with the lone helper on the game winner. Jensen from Muck at 7-18 of the overtime. And a great ending to a hard-fought section final game here at Warner Coliseum.
Yeah, a great played game throughout this contest. Pretty well balanced, especially for a 1v4 matchup. Got really the hearts played out by both of these two teams, clearly wanting it at the end. Just an opportunity went Egan's way, and Jensen able to bury it for the Wildcats.
Shots on goal end up 39-28 in favor of Eagan. The Wildcats with the 5-3 advantage in that overtime period. Jancy, one of his best games of the season between the pipes for the Raiders. 37 saves on 39 attempts. Lindgren, just another day at the office for him. 27 saves on 28 shots. He goes to 17-9-1 on the season. Jancy will end his junior campaign at 10-5-3 for Cretin-Derham Hall. Once again, your final score from Warner Coliseum. It was the 4th-seeded Eagan Wildcats, 2-1 victors in overtime over the top-seeded Cretin-Derham Hall Raiders. For Kevin Hagstrom, this is Adam Rosso signing off.